What's up, everyone? Good morning. It's your host again, Carlos Ponce here. And this is episode 17 of season 2 of Advancio Talks. The Advancio Talks show. We are live, and today we got Corey Scholibo, founder and CEO of Dayo. And I'm gonna let you introduce yourself in a minute. Corey, thanks for being with us
Thank you for
today.
having me. I appreciate it. Wow, this is impressive. You've been doing this for so long, and it's always good to be talking to other people in our space. Well, my name's Corey. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Dayo, as you said, and Dayo is an app that rewards you for using less social media and screen time.
Uh-huh.
The idea behind the product was the serious problem that everyone's having with social media, its mental health effects, how it's changing the human brain. And, this is a very large topic now that people are obsessed with, but there's really no answer. No one really seems to be bringing a lot to the table as a solution. It's
Mhm.
kind of being treated as a willpower issue. And I feel like that's how we used to treat cigarettes and food addiction and all these other things, even alcohol, right? Like it was just drink less, right? And so we've created these incredibly addictive technologies, the like button, the infinite scroll. If anyone's ever seen The Social Dilemma, which a lot of people are familiar with this, that's designed to addict you. It's designed to keep you on the app. So we were trying to figure out a way to help people with this, basically. And the best solution we came up with was, what if we actually rewarded them for not using it? Could we reward someone for a non-action? Because basically what's happening in these technologies is they're really hijacking that reptilian part of your brain, the dopamine
Mhm.
response system. You used to go hunting, you found a berry and you got a reward. Like, that's what we used to do. And so now the app is giving you that. The comments, the likes, the shares is kind of giving you this idea, or sorry, the social media. And so how did we counterbalance that? We decided the more reptilian thing we could do is literally reward you, literally give you money, get you paid
Mhm.
back for the time that took from you. And so it started as an idea, like, how do we get you paid back for that time? How do we motivate you? And so we figured money is the way to go. How do we finance that? We created partnerships with a ton of brands, and the brands are essentially offering you a wholesale price, almost up to 40% off of their product. And that dollar amount, you can't just go check it out. You can't just go shop there. We're not Amazon. You have to earn it. And you have to earn those rewards by using less. And so the app runs in the background. It tracks what you want to track, what you are worried about, what you are trying to use less of. It can be social media, which is our primary driver, but it can be any screen time that you're working on. And then the less you use, the more rewards you keep. And then you go to the marketplace and use those rewards to check out for the reward, which can be a Yeti cooler, a Rumble blanket, Stumptown coffee. A lot of people, coffee is one of our biggest sellers. There's La Crusade, there's Tom Ford sunglasses, whatever it is that really motivates you to work towards
Mhm.
something. That's what we decided to do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's quite a unique product, and I think you're solving something there. And you're especially the idea of rewarding. But before we get deeper into Dale, what the company does, and everything else, that I'm sure there's a lot of you have a lot of stories around the journey building the company that you can share with the audience. But before we go there, let me go back a little bit. Corey, tell us a little bit about you, about Corey. How did you end up here in this career path, or anything you want to share? What was it? What drove you to this path of tech entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I mean, I call myself a serial social entrepreneur. It's something I kind of invented. It basically means that and for me to do a company, I need to feel like it has a social impact and it actually changes culture in some way. I think there's a, a role for nonprofits, for governments, and I also think there's a role for companies to change the way we interact with society or culture. So that's what fascinates me. That's what gets me up in the morning. So I started my career in running branding and marketing companies like Tiffany's, MAC Cosmetics. I worked with celebrities. I worked in the entertainment industry during the entertainment marketing period of the 2000s. Then I went and worked at a magazine, the largest LGBT news magazine. It's called The Advocate.
Mm.
And I was part of the LGBT rights movement. And it was there that the green movement was sort of taking off. This is like '08, '09. And I had this strong sense that I'm always looking for what I call the thing behind the thing. Like, what is the real
Mhm.
problem to solve? And so when I was in the gay rights movement, I thought, well, if we don't have a planet, it's not really going to matter if we have rights. Like, we need to go work on the planet. So I started this company called Repurpose. It's a compostable tableware company. And the idea was to get plastic out of people's homes, because right now, that time when you went to a Target or a Whole Foods or wherever, you were still buying a plastic cup, a plastic plate, a styrofoam plate, etc. So we built the largest brand of compostable tableware in the US. It's called Repurpose. It's available everywhere. And the idea there was just we mitigated thousands and thousands of tons of plastic with a fully compostable product, which, even if you couldn't compost, was still a far lower carbon footprint than using, say, Solo or Chinet or Dixie. So I was doing that for a long time, and that took a long time because we were way ahead of the curve. And then when I left that company, which is still running, my partners are still running it, I ended up starting a company, long story how I got there, but it's actually a perimenopause and menopause play called YLWLE. And that company, the mission for me there, what I realized was there's about 50% of the population for about 50% of their lives essentially ignored and not being taken care of. And a lot of them sit out work and the climate fight and the fight for democracy and all the things that I care about because of these symptoms and these issues. So we built this naturopathic brand. We launched it in Sprouts, CVS, Whole Foods, etc. So I'm mostly a CPG entrepreneur by background. And then I sold that company because I was already working on this idea, because to me, the thing behind the thing is social media. Like, we cannot solve the problems facing us if we are dealing with misinformation, disinformation, bifurcated realities. Essentially, we're all living in our own bubbles. I don't really see what the path forward is for us without a shared reality. And I think social media is the root issue facing it. And so, not to demonize social media, because I think it has value, and we don't do that at Dayo. We believe in some social media, not too much. Like food or sex or drinking or anything else, you should have some, but not too much. Maybe you don't need to drink. That's an argument now that 2 glasses of wine is no longer considered heart healthy. But so that was really the mission to me, is we have to tackle this problem head on. And everyone's kind of talking about it, but no one's really doing anything. And what happens is these big tech companies take over, which they really did in the last year. What do we do? What is the pushback from culture? And can I create something that helps people resist, essentially?
Great. This is incredible. Thank you for sharing, by the way, that part of your journey. Now, I would like to move on to the topic that we're going to be mostly covering today, which is centered around the concept of wellness, right? So we call it mindful tech leadership. So, or in other words, how to create balance in our hyper-connected work world, right? So, why did you feel that this would be like an ideal topic for today? Like, why? Tell us a little bit about this, what you consider to be mindful tech leadership, and what does it imply?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good topic. I think that we've sort of gotten to this place, at least from the social media and social standpoint, that it has to be extractive, that it's inherently a negative product. The leaders, Zuckerberg and all of them, sort of just like furtherly finding ways to sell you. I mean, if something is free like that, which it is, you're not the customer, you're the product, right? They're selling you to advertisers. Their customers are advertisers. And so there's a strong sense that the technology inherently is negative or extractive. And I just don't think that has to be the way it is. And I think there are virtuous economic cycles that can be built. And the way Dayo does it is the brands, for instance, come on our platform and say they're giving wholesale pricing to you, Carlos, and they're giving it to you because you earned that pricing, and they're rewarding you. So they get like a brand halo effect, and they get to be a part of a virtuous system. That's great. They're also making a sale, and they're making a sale without a customer acquisition cost. They're not giving Meta or Google $40 or whatever it costs to acquire you as a customer. They're giving it to you, the consumer, for 40% off the money that they're losing in that transaction with Meta. Just give it to you, and then create that, what I call a virtuous economic cycle. And so that's one end of it. And then the consumer, this is a completely free app. I only make money when you buy something. I get a little cut from the brands. So ultimately, I'm creating a virtuous economic cycle for you as well. So can I marry these two needs? The consumers need to use less, and the brands need to still find you and tell you about a new product or something they're trying to. We live in a capitalistic society, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I think that is really what I would consider mindful tech leadership in my concept. Obviously, there's lots of other ways, but do they have to be negative? And I just don't know that they do. I think that's the path of least resistance, and I get that. Scaring people, for instance, on social media, fear mongering is the fastest way to get virality. That's why the algorithms reward sort of, fear, basically drumming up that kind of thing. But that doesn't have to be the way it's done. There are other ways that we could do it. And I think we've just sort of convinced ourselves that there's only one way to go. There's only one approach. Just sort of is what it is by virtue of its existence. And I think that we need to regroup and reorganize. And there's some in social, you've got like Blue Sky, right, which isn't driven by advertising. You've got some alternatives coming in. Neptune, I don't know if a lot of people are Neptune, but it's a more virtuous social media platform. They have cold start problems, all of them, right? Because you need a lot of people on there. But then you've got like Anthropic, which has just pivoted and is trying to launch an entire social media platform of just AI using Sora, where you take your face and you create a bunch of, you and I create videos of each other, but we're not in them and we're not even there. And then I follow your AI and you follow my AI. And like, so that to me is the opposite direction. So ultimately Anthropic, which meant to be this leader, right? They said they were going to cure cancer. That was literally what they said they were going to do. And now they're launching a social media platform to sell advertising. Like they're literally just pivoting to a meta model. So, because it's where most of the money is the fastest. I totally get it. And you have to create shareholder value and all that. But that's what we see as tech leadership, right? Just essentially selling your eyeballs. And I just don't think that's be the case. So I want to find ways to become a leader in this mindful space and for other people to create mindful products. And mindful is kind of a loaded word. I'm not making you meditate. It's none of my business what you do with the time I give you back. That's your time. I didn't take a position on that. Like I'll show you on the app, by the way, you'll see how many hours of the day you're saving, how many years of your life you're saving, how much each app is costing you. So I give you the tools to do that, but I'm not here to make you mindful. I don't care what you do with the time, but it doesn't mean that I need to take your mind from you.
Right. So this is, okay. Now what I'm hearing is that you're basically serving the user. So we're talking about the user end of the equation, right? So you're giving the user back time back into their lives to do with as they please, right? So this is a very interesting concept, and especially considering the fact that you're providing a way to reward that effort of taking back that time. But I'm curious as to on the let's call it on the companies, on the Dayo side, or maybe internally at companies, like not just to the rest of the world, like out there, but internally at the companies. What do you think? How would you say that? What role does mindful technology have on or in employee productivity or even job satisfaction? Does it have a role?
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of people, most people use way too much social media, and if you're in marketing and listening to this, like, it's sort of hard, right? Because you think I have to be on social media all the time. I have to know what's going on, and young people tell me this as well. So it's very distracting at work. It is a way people waste tons of time at work. And they're really not, we're really doing it out of habit. It's not necessarily that we're enjoying it. Maybe you enjoy it for a while, for like 20 minutes or something, 10 minutes. And then you go on for an hour. Why were you on for an hour? Like if you think about it, and I talk to teens about this a lot because we're working on a feature where parents can pay their kids to get off, which will be coming out next year. But they're like, well, I have to know what's going on. I have to know the memes. And I think a lot of people in our work world are like, well, I need to know what's going on. Like I need to know the news. I need to know what the cultural ramifications are. If you're marketing something, even in technology, I need to see what's the latest thing going on at Apple, let's say, or what is this Anthropic AI social media platform they're launching? Like I should probably know about it if I'm going to be in a tech marketing position. But the reality, what you find that actually when you look at it is that you watch 1 or 2 videos, let's say on TikTok about it, And then you keep going and you're watching the same thing. Nothing new has been revealed. Like Anthropic announced it, and then there's a million takes. And so you're just watching take after take after take after repetitious take. And you actually don't need to be on that for 3 hours. You really only need like a couple minutes of it, even if you were using it from a purely work perspective. And so the way we position the app currently is we give you 30 minutes free and clear a day. And that's because the American Psychological Association says, and it's really the only, number we can base anything on because there's not enough study of this, that 30 minutes a day is net neutral to net positive. So I'm supposed to go see Carlos's show. I'm maybe supposed to go and see, if we're friends, I'm supposed to see your dog or your daughter or whatever your life is, and you're supposed to see mine, and then I'm supposed to get off. But instead, we're doom scrolling, we're comparing, despairing. I'm seeing people with better houses, better cars, better lives. This also affects work, right? Like everyone has a better job. Everyone's working less or working better. Everyone's more productive. Everyone's hacking the system. It's especially in tech. It's like even the trend, like the 60-hour work week, and all, it's just like it's a constant flow of like you're not good enough, you're not doing enough, and it really imbues your work. So the 30 minutes a day, after 30 minutes, you get a shield screen that takes over your whole screen and says, hey, you want to stop and get paid, or you want to keep scrolling? And you can push through that, and then there'll be another one at 90, and there'll be another one at 120. And then when you push through, you'll start to lose the money. We give you $5 a day in the market. And after 30 minutes, you push, okay, I want to keep going. I'm going to keep going. Great. $5, $4.99, $4.98. You start seeing the money disappear from your wallet. So there's both carrot and stick. And to us, this is how you do it in order to get someone on target. But what most people find is that even, especially at work, they don't even know they were on for 30 minutes. I was like, oh, I was on for like 5 minutes. No, you're on for 45 minutes. You lose all sense of time in there. And that's on purpose. They designed it that way. That is nuclear powered tech that they have built to do that. And so, yeah, you're going to lose an hour at work, and you're not focused on your task, and you're distracted, and you're checking Facebook or Instagram or whatever in between emails. And it's not helping you be productive. We all know that's sort of very proven now that you can't multitask, right? Multitasking is bullshit. It's not a thing. So you're just code switching back and forth. And every time you switch from Instagram back to your email, back to the project you're working on, there's a reset period at which your brain has to reset itself to the project at hand. And over time, you can lose, in a course of a day, you could lose hours easily.
Right.
So I think social media is a total productivity suck. I think it's also not helping you get up and walk over to your coworker and having a conversation about the weekend. Where's the water cooler, right? The water cooler is now in. Oh, I saw their Instagram video and liked it. No, you didn't. Go over and talk to your coworker, assuming you go to work. Call them up. What happened that weekend? Those connectivities build teams. They build trust, and they build productivity. Even from a purely productivity standpoint, they work. And so everything that takes us away from that is really not helping us accomplish our goals at work.
Okay. As I mentioned to you at the beginning, when we were prepping before we went on the air, I mentioned to you that a great chunk of our viewers are tech entrepreneurs and maybe CTOs, people who are actually running companies that are technology. A lot of them are technology companies. So in that sense, I would like to ask you, Corey, how would you say that digital wellness initiatives like Dayo that are also rewarding, how do you think they could perhaps impact talent retention strategies and even employee engagement and internally at companies? What can you tell us about that?
Well, Dayo's sort of tertiary, although it's not my primary drive because I'm a consumer app. But we always knew its tertiary possibilities were employee benefits. So, for instance, the ideal partnership is a brand comes on and they put the product on the marketplace. They socialize and newsletter out our partnership so they can tell people about what they're doing and why they're doing it, and take the credit, take the bow for what they're doing. But then they should send it out to their employees as well. And then they could actually, in this new model we're about to launch, they could put in money into the system. So they could make a deal with their employees and say, okay, I'm going to reward everybody who uses 30 minutes or less with today, right? You could actually put an incentive on that. And that would be increasing productivity, kind of similar to like how healthcare companies will do, like, oh, if you join a gym, you get a little discount. If if you hook up your pedometer, and people don't want to be monitored, right? That's the first thing. People don't want to be monitored at work. So this is completely anonymous. This is, and the way to think about our app is the employer would never know what they were doing, what the employee was doing. They would just know whether you got the money or not, which of course has its own, ramifications. But there's a way in which employers could reward all kinds of behavior at work, including avoiding screen time, avoiding social media, avoiding your phone, etc. And I think anytime you reward employees as opposed to chastise employees, you're going to get great benefits. And I think people are sort of figuring this out, especially as we're trying, especially draw people back to work, like literally, like in the office. What's in it for me to go back to work? We're in a bit of a weird employment cycle, so maybe things are getting tough. But at the time, or at the current state, people don't want to go back to the way it was before COVID. It's not like, sure, I'm just going to show up every day and crunch it out for 10 hours a day. That's not the vibe. So how do you draw people back? You're going to get a lot of bonuses. Let the dogs in the office. There used to be the kombucha bar or whatever. I don't think people care about that stuff anymore. It's kind of like, just pay me. That phrase, pay me. It's like, I don't want to hear all your stuff anymore. Just pay me what I'm worth. Just reward me what I'm worth. And I think this could be a really great way to reward people.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about how some companies reward their employees. I don't know, maybe with foosball or a pool table or a ping pong table. And I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that myself. I don't get me wrong. I like those activities, but probably not as a great way to retain talent, right? As a reason to be in a company.
It's get paid what they're worth.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want me to use less of something, you want me to do something, great. Reward me for it. Give me health insurance. Okay, give me a discount on my health insurance if I run 3 times a week. I don't know. Sure, there's lots of ways we can do it, but I think it's all been under this auspice of do it for the team, do it for the company. But you're not really going to get that bonus. That's all going to the top of the ladder there.
Yeah.
So, unless it's stock, and the tech, there's a lot of stock, which is great. I think we've sort of gotten lazy about how to reward employees, and I think we need to be more ingenuitive about how we approach employee retention. Right. And I think this is one aspect.
Right. Oh, speaking of, we were also mentioning social media, right? So how social media is designed to be intentionally addictive, right? So it's kind of driving us all to get our daily dopamine fix, right? So it's intentionally designed, and it follows the principles of gambling in Las Vegas and the slot machines, all that, right? So that it's a segue into the psychology of using alternatives like Dayo and others that might be out there. So what psychological principles would you say that drive Dayo's approach to changing these deeply ingrained social media habits that we are all getting addicted to?
Yeah, it's a dopamine response. So when you post a video or a photo, let's say on Instagram, you're putting it out there. Why are you posting it? You're posting it so people see it, right? You're looking for a dopamine response. You're looking for, 5 people liked it, 6 people liked it, 20 people liked it, 30. And then the more people liked it, the more dopamine you're getting. The more they share it, the more dopamine, the more comments. Oh, wow, I'm really connecting with people. It's a dopamine response, which is very similar to as if you were in a tribe, let's say, and you got to stand up and speak and everyone listened to you. That would be very true, right? It's similar to that town square idea, but it's not real connectivity. Mm-hmm. Then I'm clicking the button because I want the dopamine response of hitting a button, or I want Carlos to know that I like him. So I'm going to give him a like on his thing. I'm going to share his thing. It'll give me a dopamine response because he'll like me, and it's this never-ending dopamine response. And then similarly, you get variable rewards. So you post a photo. This is gambling 101, right? You post a photo and Then nobody liked it. Why didn't that one work? Now I feel bad about myself. Now I'm going into that cycle, which takes me down. And then I go post another one and it takes me up. And so variable rewards is the key to all social media and most of our technology, right? Variable rewards is very effective. You know, there's the classic story of the rat who hits the pedal to get the cocaine, right? Like they put him in a cage by himself, and if he pushes a button, he gets cocaine. And so what they found was that when they put a rat in a cage where he pushes a button and every time he gets cocaine, and then you put a rat in a cage and every other time or every sixth time, totally randomly, he gets cocaine, that rat hits the button more. When he doesn't know when he's going to get it, he hits it more than when he knows he's going to get it. That is variable rewards. So social media is all about variable rewards. And so we're actually kind of taking that dopamine response and hijacking it for good. It's like, okay, what reward could I replace a like with? Which, by the way, has no meaning. Your friends don't care that you liked it. You get no value out of it. You get no financial remediation from it. You get no maybe you get some social credibility from your peer group or whatever. What could we replace with that? Okay, well, money is a very dopamine-based reward system. You're talking about gambling. In our scenario, you go in and instead of hitting the button, you don't hit the button, but get cocaine, right? You get money, you get a discount, you get to see the dollars grow, you get to see your wallet grow, you get to see your time grow. These are all sort of dopamine-based responses for good. And so that's the whole premise of what Dayo is doing. I want to use the exact same neural pathways that they're using for good. And I don't know of a way that you're going to hijack or circumvent those other than just literally not using social media, which I don't think is realistic. So if we're going to use social media, then I'm going to use that technology for your betterment is really
right. Do you think that there could potentially be, let's call it a misconception about, from that people may have about digital wellness and maybe screen time management? I don't know. Could there be a potential misconception from your standpoint?
Well, I mean, I guess would ask how so. I think people think that maybe it's not as harmful as it is, or they can't really see what its effects are. And by the way, if you read like some books on this, especially with teens, some kids actually don't do negatively. Like there is a percentage of kids that don't do negatively from having an excess amount of screen time, but the percentage of that do is significant and more. And so, you can quite measure these effects, like all the way down to suicidality. And I think if a person is looking at it in their lives and they stop, you'd have to stop, like take TikTok off your phone for a couple of weeks, see what your brain feels like. It takes like 72 hours for some of the synapses to rewire. And TikTok, by the way, has leaked an internal memo that it got leaked. They can get you addicted in 25 minutes. They have said that in writing, and it works. So, see what happens to your brain, because what happens is it's changing the length of time at which you can concentrate. You're expecting things to come in bites. People have lost the ability to read effectively. So I think that the misconception, if there is one, and I'm curious what your take is that it's not as harmful, that this is sort of overblown potentially, or that potentially, I think the main one is maybe other people are having a problem, but I'm fine. Like I know how to do this. Okay. I'm okay. It's working for me. It's very similar to like an alcoholic. Like I don't need to stop drinking. I'll just drink, I'll just drink a little less. Oh, sure. I was on social media for 5 hours today, but not every day. So like, I'm fine. I think the misconception is that we're in control. Like any addiction, we're not. They're in control. And the sooner you admit that, the sooner you can make change or affect change if you want to. I mean, by the way, if you like it, go for it. I'm not here to judge you. There's nothing morally wrong with being on social media 6 hours a day, in my opinion. But if you'd like to do something different, we have a solution.
Exactly. There you go. That's a good way to put it. And that would help people becoming aware of this fact of what you just mentioned, of how they can gain control back of their time. It would definitely be a big win for everybody, especially for the individual who sometimes, at some point, it hasn't even happened to me. It's like all of a sudden, the day's over, and I said, where did all that time go? What did I do with it, right? And what was in it for me? So it was all about giving away my time, energy, and attention to something that I might not even be interested in. So this is a great way to put it, Corey. We're running out of time, so I would like to ask you one more question, if I may. What advice would you give to tech companies that are trying to build more wellness conscious cultures internally?
I think that that's a really good question. I've never been asked exactly to advise other companies.
Please do.
I think we have to get back to the user. I think that if we do not think about the user or the customer as the center of the conversation, it's a really unique business model that we've built where the customer is not the user, right? Most places, when you go to the store and you buy a pair of shoes, you're the customer. They built those shoes for you. They talked to you. They figured out what kind of shoes you want. That's not how social media works. Like, people are like, why can't I see my friends? You don't see your friends anymore, right? It used to be you went on Instagram and saw your friends. They took that away because it made sense for advertising. You see whatever the algorithm feeds you. The user is no longer at the center. So I guess my main advice is, if you could, and if you can financially build a model that incentivizes you to grow, that puts the user back at the center, then that should be what you're doing. And I think if you're not able to do that, I think maybe think about what you're doing with your life. Why are we extracting? Why does technology have to be extractive?
Exactly. That's a great point, Corey. Well, all good things must come to an end. I really want to thank you for having been with us on the show. How can people get a hold of you? I understand you shared with me your email and your URL, your company website, which is
check out dayo.co, and also you can email me at Corey, Corey at dayo.co, not .com.
Okay,
.co.
Great. So that's, folks, if you're watching down below, you'll see this ticker scrolling from side to side. That's where you need to go, dayo.co. And then, of course, you can also email Corey it's right there too. Email Corey at dayo.co or co. And also, you are on LinkedIn, right, Corey?
I am, yeah. It's just Corey Scholibo, my name. Easy to find.
Okay, LinkedIn, Corey Scholibo / So there you have it, folks. If you want to reach out to Corey and learn more about Dayo and how you can bring more wellness into whatever it is that you're doing, spending your time on screen, please reach out to him, Corey, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be happy about it. Corey, thank you so much for been with us on the show. Stay with me as we go off the air, and the rest of you, again, thank you for joined us today. Having joined us today. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.